What if I told you there's a way to build some serious wealth that requires, like, zero discipline? Seriously. A method that just works. It works while you sleep, while you're on vacation, while you're not even thinking about it. It's a strategy that doesn't end with a big, loud bang, but with this quiet, powerful surprise. So let's get into it. Let's uncover how it actually works.
Okay, so on the screen, you've got two people living completely different financial lives. Over on the left, that's Marcus. He's 36, he's got over 340 grand invested, and get this, he hasn't even logged into his account in over a year. He's just cool with it. Now, on the right, you have Derek. And, if we're being honest with ourselves, most of us have been Derek at some point. He means to check his balance, he gets that jolt of anxiety when the credit card bill shows up, and every single time he tries to save money, it feels like a genuine sacrifice, like he's cutting off his own oxygen. The difference between Marcus and Derek, it's not discipline. It's the system they're using.
And this right here, brings us to the single most important idea in this entire explainer. Willpower is not a financial strategy. Let me say that again. Trying to force yourself to save every month, just relying on your own memory and discipline, it's like trying to hold back the ocean with a bucket. It is exhausting, and spoiler alert, eventually you're going to lose.
So let's talk about this willpower trap, because I really want you to understand that your struggle to save isn't some kind of personal failure. It's biological. See, here's the fundamental problem. Your brain evolved for a very, very different world than the one we live in. So when you have to consciously choose between spending money on, say, a fantastic dinner tonight, which is a real, immediate, tangible reward, versus putting that exact same money toward retirement, some abstract concept 30 years in the future, well, your brain is wired to pick the dinner every single time.
And this number just shows how ridiculously powerful that bias is. Researchers found that to get us humans to delay gratification for just 3 months, we subconsciously demand an insane 277% annual return. Think about that. You literally cannot out-discipline a biological drive that powerful. It's a fight you are programmed to lose from the start.
And this chart, this just brilliantly illustrates the solution. Just look at the data for workplace retirement plans. When people have to consciously sign up, that's the voluntary enrollment, only about 64% of people actually do it. But when they are automatically enrolled and have to actively take steps to opt out, participation skyrockets to 94%. That huge 30-point difference. It isn't about education or how much money people make. It's about removing the flawed human decision from the equation entirely.
So, what is the actual real-world cost of being stuck in that willpower trap? Well, that brings us to the automation advantage, where we're going to see the real price of inaction. The difference is pretty staggering. People in those auto-enrollment plans aren't just participating more, they're saving way more. On average, they save about 12.1% of their pay, but the voluntary savers, the ones who have to make that choice every single paycheck, they only manage to put away about 7.6%. Now that might seem like a kind of small gap, but over time, trust me, it becomes a canyon. So that little difference in behavior, when you compound it over a 40-year career, it adds up to a $400,000 cumulative gap. I mean, that is nearly $500,000 of wealth that just vanishes. Not because of bad investments, not because of some market crash, but simply because one person had to rely on willpower while the other one had a system.
This just flies in the face of everything we're told about getting rich, right? We think it involves some crypto moonshot or picking the next hot stock. But the real truth is, real wealth building is supposed to be boring. If a financial strategy sounds exciting, that's often a warning label that you're probably about to lose your money.
And there is absolutely no better proof of the power of boring than the incredible, true story of a secretary named Grace Groner. So back in 1935, Grace took $180 and she bought 3 shares of stock in the company where she worked. But here's the critical part. She set up automatic dividend reinvestment. And then she did nothing. Literally nothing. For 75 years, she just let the system run on its own. By the time she passed away at 100 years old, that initial $180 investment, running completely on autopilot, had compounded into $7.2 million. She didn't find the next big thing. She just let boring run long enough to become absolutely extraordinary.
Okay, so how do you build your own version of Grace's system? Let's get practical. Let's look at the toolkit that I like to call your automation stack.
So this is basically an infrastructure you build that's designed to override your flawed human intentions. First up, pay yourself first. This means you set up an automatic transfer from your checking to your investments that happens on payday before your brain even knows the money is there to be spent. Second, use the 1% override. You just automate a 1% increase in your retirement contributions every single year. You'll never even feel it. Third, the separate bank rule. You need to put your emergency fund in a totally different bank, one with no debit card. Making it annoying to access stops it from leaking out into daily spending. And finally, the anti-creep rule. The second you get a raise, before that first new paycheck even hits your account, you log in and increase your automatic contribution.
Now, when you do all this, you're not just accumulating money. You're not just watching a number go up. You're building something so much more valuable. You are building your freedom.
The ultimate goal here is to reach what I call the freedom horizon. This is that point where your automated system has built such a strong financial buffer that a potential life-altering catastrophe, like, say, losing your job or getting a major medical bill, it just becomes a mere inconvenience. It's the power to have your water heater break without panicking. It's the power to say no to a toxic job you hate. That is what this system actually buys you.
So let's just bring this all together. Stop waiting for the exciting lottery ticket version of wealth to just show up at your door. It won't. Real, lasting financial stability, it isn't built in some flash of genius. It's built quietly, consistently, one automated transfer at a time.
And that really brings us to the end. The theory behind all this is simple, but it's the action that actually matters. So my question for you is this. Looking at that automation stack we just talked about, what is the first single thing you will automate this week? Is it the payday transfer? The 1% override? Just pick one and start building your own quiet surprise.